Wojnarski. We're back again with a welding fabrication video for everybody. Little continuation of my project I did the other day. And today is November 20th, 2024. So, these are my little wrench handles that I'm making, if you haven't seen them already. Let's see. These little handles right here, if you want to know a little more about them, watch my previous video, but just making it like this. But I got two different sizes, big one and a small one to fit on here, and they're going to be interchangeable like this. This is a small one and this is a thicker big one to fit on each one, and then they'll go inside the piece of pipe like that with a little cotter pin thing. So here's my little idea on how to shim these up without marking every single one out, and yeah, without marking them all out and squaring it all and everything. So I'll show you my little setup that I'm doing.
Welding Fabrication Tips and Tricks, A Day in the Life, Part 2, Season 2, Episode 11.
Warning. Flashing lights occur during this video. Please use caution. The content and techniques you see in this video are performed by professionals. We ask that you do not attempt at your own risk. Thank you.
Alright, we'll put you guys on my little first person view thing, and we're going to continue this video for my Instagram. So, I got a little one of each going. One for Instagram, that's you, and this is YouTube right here, you. So, what we're going to do is mark my center of this tubing. Center, 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 which was 1 1/4 because it's 2 1/2. And then I split the difference if there is any difference, which there wasn't really. And I'll put, now my tubing is going to be 3/4 inch tubing. So I want to go half of that is 3/8. 3/8 off each end of this. So 3/8 off from the center. 3/8, 3/8, 3/8, 3/8 each way. And I got a little mark like that. Got a little mark just to show me where the center of the tubing fits up. Now, here comes the fun part. See if we could zoom you in a little and get some of this stuff out of our way. So, I got fixture table set up, which you don't need. You can use a square, any type of square mounted to the table. But I got a little 90-degree thing. I've checked it with my square. So we're squared. And now, take my piece, and from end to the one mark is 7/8. 7/8. So that would be our split, our difference, or what size shims we need. So I took my Fireball shims over here, took my whole shim set, and I got 3/4, and I got 1/8 inch, so that would give me 7/8, and I made 4 of them, which I only need 3. 2 down there, and then 1 to the side, so going 3/4 this way and 3/4 this way. So give me 3/4 off the bottom and 3/4 off the side. And that would be like that. Take my piece with the mill scale ground down, butt it up against that way, this way, and then I'll clamp that piece down. And then take this, make sure there's no burrs or anything on the corners, and make sure that's pretty square. Put it up in there, and we're pretty centered on our marks. I'll flip it and double check it, but we're pretty good. Clamp it down. You don't need a fixture table for this, but it makes it easier. You could clamp it down any other way, or magnet or something like that. Use your imagination, I guess. It's still possible without the fixture table, so you could just bring it to the end a little bit more and clamp from there, or use a Fireball square and go from that way. So we're pretty good. Now I'll start tacking it on. Hopefully it'll... Alright, I can only really get 3 sides of the tacks, so unclamp those 2 and tack my other corner. And we're pretty good right there. Pretty square. I mean, that should be pretty square. I'm happy with that. It looks good to me, so I'm not even going to bother checking it or anything. For what it is, it's plenty fine. So, go on to the next ones, and I'll just show you how simple and easy it is. So, put your one piece in, clamp that down, make sure it's touching each side. Take this in, make sure it's not rocking, and clamp them down, and we'll start tacking again. Not too bad at all. And I'll just weld them all when they're done, but pretty centered on that thing, right? Knock out a couple more, maybe I'll just put you on a time lapse and we'll go from there. But pretty simple. Once you figure out your measurements you need and everything and get your fixture set up, if you have a lot of parts like this, it just makes it 1,000 times easier. Alright, so now we are all done with all this stuff. So what I did was took my little piece, put my pins in for the fixture table, put an end in like that, end in like that. Took my little shims, 3/4 and 1/8, 7/8, same thing with these. Had two pieces going like that, one piece like that, which allowed you to put this piece up like that, put it all up like that, and keep spinning it, and we're good. So I'd say I'm pretty happy with that. So on to welding. So what do we got? 20 pieces. Well, we got 20 pieces to weld all this stuff, so we'll get to it. Alright, for our welder, Everlast 325 EXT will give you our settings. 200 amps. I just always have it on setting 1, so watch. Shut the machine off. Gas is already on, so whatever. But turn it on, and it automatically pops up to setting number 1, or whatever your previous hold setting that you did was. But I have it on setting 1. So my setting 1 is just all DC stuff, steel, stainless. That's what I usually mostly do with it, and I just have it set up at 200 amps because that's what I always just keep it at. I mean, if I have something thinner than that stuff, then I'll bump it down a little bit, but anything like 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch or so, even a little thicker, I'm fine with that with the pedal. Sometimes I'll change it from here and there or whatever, but for that, it's fine. Maybe I'll bump it down if I need to, just the amperage, but everything else is pretty much the same. Just normal DC, foot pedal, no pulse, normal setup. You could have easy setup, but I don't use that. High frequency TIG, then I'll just bring it through a couple settings. Downslope none, N amps 5, which is the lowest it goes to. Post flow 14.2, I'll just leave it around like 8 seconds or whatever, enough to keep that tungsten a little cool. Yeah, post flow 14.2, you probably don't need that much. Pre-flow is good to have. A little pre-flow helps with arc start, so 0.2 of a second. 15 amps, a little, that's fine. 15 amps start amps helps a little bit. With the higher you bump it up, I think the smoother of a start you'll have, and that's it, just 200 amps. But yeah, start amps, like if you have something really thin, you want to bump it down the lowest it goes, I think 5, but 15 is fine for that. Aluminum, you could bump it up a little hotter if you want like 40, but it just helps with a little better arc starts if you need it. So, little tip for you. My gas is set to 25 CFH. This machine's nice though, it's got that little gas purge button. So, we're good. 332nd tungsten. I like to switch them up between blue lanthanated or that green laser one from CK Worldwide. So, we're pretty good. Nice little setup, but I'll tell you what, without these shims it would have been hard to do. So shout out to you, Fireball Tool. I don't think I would have needed a fixture table. I probably could have did it with this square right here, 2 squares, or even this square, taking these things off and button it up on the inside like that and putting some shims on. I might have been able to clamp to that with that, so I could have did it all without a fixture table on our table over there with just that and the shims. So just goes to show you how much I use those shims. So I'm gonna wrap this thing up, get my jacket on or long sleeve shirt on so I don't burn my arms, and we'll start welding. That's why it's good. I always like to save like little blocks like this. Here's my little aluminum blocks and stuff, flat bars, even square tubing like this, flat bar, tubing, just all different stuff like that, bigger tubing like that, 3-inch stuff, some other stuff over there, even like stuff like this. Got a little pile that I save and hang on to. I'll straighten that pile up every now and then, but good to have like even like nice thick angles like this. This is like 3/8. This one's 1/2 inch, and that comes in handy for like fitting up corners on like a countertop or something. These nice thick aluminum chill blocks. All different stuff helps like that. So put your stuff back. I'll put that back when I'm all done. I don't want to make you guys watch that, but move it out of my way for now. Alright, all cleaned up. Here's our little pin set that we have. Put them in there. I got those little silica packets to keep the moisture out, but it still gets it a little bit in this hot. Today was really humid and it rusts these things a little bit. So every once in a while I got to go through and like a Scotch-Brite or something and get some of that off. I wish they were all coated like that. I talked to Jason with Fireball Tool at FabTech, asked him if he could maybe do something, or if we could do something like that, a black oxide coating. He didn't really, he said like wax or something might help, but he said he'll think about it or something. So it'd be cool to have like coating on these too, because they get pretty rusty. So just got to take care of them though. Now clean up my little area, get them all set up nice and neat, and we'll get ready to go. Now here's a little secret tip for you guys how to sharpen tungsten. I get my little, I think I showed this a bunch of times, but my little drill chuck with a little chuck that I bought aftermarket. That goes in there, little adjustable chuck. Chuck your tungsten up in there, get your bench grinder, designated tungsten grinder. Make sure you put your glasses on when you're, or helmet or something when you're doing this. Little water. I don't know if you've seen that, I had my welding helmet on, but if you really want to make a fine point on these, I mean, that's pretty good for that. But if you want really, really smooth arc starts, you get yourself a diamond wheel like this bad boy. This is our drill bit sharpener over here. And diamond wheels on this. If I could show you that out in the sun. I didn't get it too good. That wheel is getting a little dull, and I don't want to use this wheel. That's the good one, so I kind of want to save that. But that's good for sharpening drill bits, or get a wheel like that for tungsten, and you'll have super, super crisp arc starts. Pretty nice. So there you go.
Ready to start welding, I guess. These were a little rusty from a experiment I did to take that mill scale off with vinegar. It worked okay, but they rusted pretty easy after, and I should have ground it down to bright shiny metal after. It would only took 5 minutes. I highly suggest doing it, but they tacked pretty fine, so I was on a little rush and I regret not doing it. But your metal will weld way better if you have bright shiny metal, so I suggest doing it.
So we'll get to it and we'll start welding, and should be pretty simple, straightforward, but put you on a little video for a couple of them and then I'll time lapse the rest, and we'll go about it. 20 of them to do though, so get ready. All right, I think we're on and we're ready to start going. I'm gonna try after like 1 or 2 to put this little lens on, I guess on my cell phone. I don't think it'll really go on that camera, so it'd be Instagram. So if I get it, I'll put it in the comments and I'll let you know if it works, just so you can see the arcs. I'm trying to get like arc shots or whatever, so we'll get to it.
Alright, in a second you'll see smoke coming out of that tubing. I'm not sure if it's from that rust on that little flat bar or from the tubing or something, but it's always good to have a fan pointing away from you. I have a little cordless fan that I use, and I probably used it in my previous video or my next video, but I usually just stick it right next to the part and blow the air away from me, or suck the air away from me. And it's good to have something like that, or what do you call it, welding fume extractor. So if you have that, a fan, face mask, anything you could do to protect your lungs, you'll be thanking yourself in the future. So just help yourself out.
There's a little bit of a problem from not having it super clean, that little rust or something, but we're still going all right. So pretty simple. Just seems like it doesn't want to penetrate as easily. I'm usually like a clean freak. I like, if I'm doing any black iron, like carbon steel, I like there to be bright, shiny metal at all times. I hate welding over mill scale or anything, so that's just me.
It is more time consuming to clean your metal, but it just welds so much better. If I would have took like a couple minutes to do that, I would have been flying through it and just would have been easier.
There you go. I don't know if you can really see it at all, but not the best, not the worst. Pretty simple. Just trying to go somewhat quick with it. It's like that. That tack right there. See how that tack is not in the perfectly on the corner? That was that hard to reach one. Where if you can get your tacks perfectly on the corner, just makes it look better, because now I'm gonna have to go over that and it's gonna be a little higher, so cosmetically it won't be as good looking. For this it's perfectly fine, but just makes your welds look a little better. So if you can, try doing that.
I think I said it already, but these parts aren't super critical. Really, they could have been glued together and they'd be strong enough. Maybe not, but yeah. Just trying to buzz through it.
Alright, pretty straightforward though, not much to it. And what I'm doing is I'm focusing my heat on the thicker part. Like 3/4 of like the arc is on the thicker part, and like 1/4 if it's on the thinner part, so kind of just barely nips that, because that's like 3/16 or something, the thicker plate, and the thinner one is like 14 gauge or something like that. So just easy to burn through the thin one, so it just helps if you concentrate. Anytime you have like a thick to thin thing like that, thick to thin part to weld like that, you want to concentrate your arc more on the thicker part, and if you need to, just tilt the torch a little and wash it up a little, so it just helps you. So put it on time lapse. I'll try getting a little snap for the Instagram thing with the little lens, and we'll go from there.
pretty simple, really. Not much to it. They don't gotta be super strong or anything. They don't gotta look the best of welds. Really would have been good to practice with your opposite hand on here. I should have practiced with my left hand just to build up your skill level. But anyway, back to it.
Okay, we're all done welding. Look at you guys, double action cameras, right? That like that, that like that. But we're all done welding. I really should have ground that little rust off because it was a little harder. I mean, for what it is, it's plenty fine. It just took a little bit longer. Ooh, I forgot one to weld. Uh-oh. Can't believe I missed that one. But anyway, it's all done. And I ended up, if you ever have rust like that, one little trick or like mill scale is to like manually pulse the foot pedal yourself or pulse it with the pulser. That makes it a little easier. I think it just doesn't put as much heat into it at once, but came out pretty good. Like, nothing to complain about, nothing to brag about either, but plenty fine for what it is. Now we'll be on to the next part. I got to drill a hole in the top of those and drill a hole in those and get a little other pieces for those, or that's that. I got to drill a hole and then I got to weld them all together. So I'll have to weld all together like that, some pieces together, but that should be good. And that's a little video of my fixturing skills, I guess. So hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys on the next one. And a little harder with both of these cameras. It would have been easier to do like one camera at a time or just that, but I wanted to do one for YouTube and one for Instagram, and they're both going, one's going each way, so one will be straight up and down, one will be sideways, so it's a little better for you guys. It's still easy, but a little harder, I guess. Now I gotta talk to two cameras instead of one. So that's it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments. Subscribe, trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and see you guys on the next one. Chris Wojnarski, over and out.
Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, dislike, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Instagram where I post more often at Chris Wojnarski. See you on the next one.